I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Friday, November the 20th, 2015. After 3 decades behind bars, Jonathan Pollard has been freed. Pollard has been serving a life sentence for conspiring to commit espionage. He was arrested in 1985 for selling U.S. secrets to Israel while working as a civilian intelligence analyst for the U.S. Navy. He was sentenced to life in prison in 1987. Pollard was freed in the early hours of this morning on parole from the federal penitentiary in Butner, North Carolina. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said he has, quote, longed for this day.
The people of Israel welcome the release of Jonathan Pollard. As someone who raised his case before successive U.S. presidents many times, I longed for this day. And now, after 3 long and difficult decades, Jonathan is being released. I wish him on this first Sabbath that he's going to spend with his family a lot of joy, a lot of happiness, a lot of peace. May these be the hallmarks of the rest of his life.
Israel's President Reuven Rivlin said, over the years we felt Pollard's pain and felt responsible and obliged to bring about his release. Pollard hopes to return to Israel. However, under the terms of his parole, he will likely have to stay in the U.S. for up to 5 years. Pollard's lawyers, meanwhile, have appealed what they termed illegal stipulations that have been placed on their client, including a GPS ankle bracelet and tracking of his computer systems, asking the court to vacate those conditions. The young American tourist that was among those killed in a terror attack yesterday in Alon Shvut in the West Bank was named as 18-year-old Ezra Schwartz. Schwartz was from Sharon, Massachusetts, a recent graduate of the Maimonides School in Brookline. He was in Israel for his gap year and was studying at the Yeshiva Ashreinu in Beit Shemesh. He reportedly was in Gush Etzion in order to deliver food items to IDF soldiers serving in the area, when the minivan he was traveling in was attacked by a Palestinian driver armed with an Uzi submachine gun. Also killed in the attack, 49-year-old Israeli teacher from Alon Shvut, Yaakov Don, who was laid to rest this morning, and 24-year-old Palestinian Shadi Arafa from Hebron. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu expressed his outrage at the terror and said whoever condemned the attacks in France needs to condemn the attacks in Israel. It's the same terror. Whoever does not do this, Netanyahu said, is a hypocrite and blind. U.S. State Department spokesman Edgar Vasquez told the Jerusalem Post, "We condemn these terrorist attacks against innocent civilians in the strongest possible terms." He said, and continued to urge all sides to take affirmative steps to restore calm and prevent actions that would further escalate tensions. The victims of the stabbing terror attack that took place yesterday in Tel Aviv were also named. They are 51-year-old Ruvain Aviram from Ramleh and 32-year-old Aharon Yesayev from Hulon. French news agency AFP reports that the family of Raoul Wallenberg, the Swedish diplomat who saved tens of thousands of Jews during the Holocaust, is asking Swedish authorities to declare him legally dead. Wallenberg was last seen surrounded by Soviet officers in Budapest on January the 17th of 1945. His family was never told why he was arrested or what happened to him. His family sent a statement to AFP saying that the declaration of death is a way to deal with the trauma we lived through, to bring one phase to closure and move on, but it will not affect his presence in our lives nor the inspiration he is to us and to the world. The Director General of the UN's Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, Irina Bokova, joined with members of Congress, diplomats, and Jewish leaders, including the leaders of the Simon Wiesenthal Center, for the opening of the center's exhibition, People, Book, Land, the 3,500-year relationship of the Jewish people with the Holy Land, that took place this week on Capitol Hill. Bokova spoke at the opening, noting that UNESCO launched the initiative together with the Wiesenthal Center last summer. She said this exhibition reminds us of the profound, unassailable connection between the Jewish people and the Holy Land. Knowing this history, she said, is important to counter false narratives of hatred and anti-Semitism, to disarm violence and intolerance. Bokova said especially in these violent and turbulent times, the lessons learned from exhibitions like this one must be seen everywhere if there is to be peace. The Anti-Defamation League has released a new report regarding anti-Israel activity on college campuses across the U.S., showing an upswing in such activity, including continued support for the BDS, Boycott, Divestment, and Sanctions movement. The report shows that in this past fall, there were over 150 explicitly anti-Israel events on campuses, which was up from 105 during the same time period last year. ADL CEO Jonathan Greenblatt said student groups at a number of campuses are sponsoring a range of programs and initiatives designed with one goal: to isolate, defame, and delegitimize Israel. One initiative the ADL has introduced to help combat these efforts is a new Twitter handle, @CampusADL, which provides students with detailed information and alerts to upcoming events and campaigns. And looking now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Friday, November the 20th. At 6 o'clock, live Shabbat services from New York City's Central Synagogue, followed at 7:30 with the Kfar Saba concert of Hazamir Chorale. At 8 o'clock, highlights from the recent American-Israel Friendship League dinner. And at 9, Israeli writer Amos Oz is in the spotlight on the Jewish Film Festival. At 10, the program A Flag is Born, and at 10:30, it's Musica with David Broza. And that's the JBS News Update for Friday, November the 20th, 2015. I'm Teisha Bader. Shabbat Shalom.